I'm David Sanchez, third day of C2E2. We're here with the master, J. Scott Campbell. J. Scott, thank you very much for having us. Really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for giving my place.
Oh, thanks for having us. You know, I mean, there was no spread, but okay, we won't say nothing. We appreciate it. We're grateful for all your contributions that you done in comics, especially throughout the 90s when I first became a huge fan of yours. But talk to us about the J. Scott today. You're doing a lot of projects with Disney. You've worked in advertising. Tell us about that world of Illustrator.
Yeah, I mean, that's the funny thing. You start off sometimes doing comic books specifically, and then as you go on with your career, you know, these other little doors start to open. You start to get exposed to other like areas where comic book art is viable in so many other avenues besides just comic books. It's been really exciting to explore all these other little avenues, and I've loved the whole experience. And I think that's also just inherently something that an artist always goes through. An artist always wants sort of like to push themselves and try the next thing and stuff like that. Sometimes it's a little bit stifling to just do the same old thing over and over again. You want to sort of try new avenues, try new projects, try new characters, and that's the fantastic thing about how my career trajectory is taking.
How much was it more of you approaching these other parties and them contacting you? Like Disney, how did that happen?
I'm actually very fortunate that they approached me. I don't think I would dare approach them. I don't think it would work that way. I think they have to sort of like decide, you know, to touch your shoulder and go, "You've been picked," you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, I think they just had seen my work, or somebody. Actually, as I recall, the way I heard the story is somebody at Pixar internally recommended me to that division of business. Said, "Hey, you should check this guy out."
Working with Pixar already?
No, the way the story I heard the story was that somehow somebody there passed my name along to the people, the powers that be, and next thing you know, I was getting a phone call from Disney to do some work with them. So.
Now, is there more red tape with a corporation like that as opposed to?
There is, but like I'll be honest with you, not as much as I expected. I expected more, actually.
You expected more.
Yeah. Some things were actually like slam dunks much faster than I thought. Like I turned in a sketch, and they're like, "Great." You know,
wow, they were very much like, let's see what you got.
Yeah, I mean, there's of course, I mean, in a big company like that, there's going to be little things they're going to tell you, oh, we prefer you not to do that or not to do this. But for the most part, I thought it'd be way more, the perception would be that it would be way more of a stifling process, and it really wasn't. So.
Before Disney and in between, like, you actually worked in advertising?
No, never did advertising, but I've dabbled in that world. With, I did some like advertising work for a tennis shoe company once. I've done some fashion stuff for a company called Hogan. It was like for Fashion Week in like Italy or something like that. I mean, I've done a little bit of that, but that's not really.
How did that happen? Were you just
I just got contacted. That's the great thing about this current environment of social media and stuff like that. All of us artists can get our exposure out there. We're very easily contacted. And it's just a whole different world for guys like me now. I mean, really, we're a brand in and of ourselves.
Yeah.
And as long as we are a little bit savvy with our marketing, with our social media, it's very easy for people who are interested and discover our work online to get in touch with us and open all kinds of avenues for us.
Now, tell us about that part, the actual marketing part, the social media pushing all that, because talking to any artist out here, it's something they get tired of. You know, so do you hire, do you outsource that? Is it you? Is it the real J. Scott?
I mean, I'm going more and more that direction. I think the first few years was all me. It still probably is more me than I would rather it be.
Yeah.
But I think at the same time, it's a necessary part of what we do. And it's also like if you're a small operation, which most of us artists are, you kind of have to. It has to start with you, and then like it can grow from there. And also too, I have very specific ideas of what I wanted to brand myself as, what I wanted my sort of like hyper focus what it is that I do and do a small package I can present and sort of say, hey, this is what J. Scott Campbell's all about, you know, kind of thing. Because that's to me, it's all about sort of finding a niche that you can sort of like specifically fill and just running, you know, all the way with it.
All right, so the J. Scott brand. What's the 50-second pitch?
Like I said, I think it's like edgy, aggressive, like face comics. No, I know that's it. But like I try to present sort of like a dynamic sort of aspect, like bringing that comic book look to other things, you know, that kind of thing. Obviously, the sexy women is a big part of my brand. I like to run with that and just sort of like make that sort of a staple. I've never really shied away from that. I like that's something people know they can come to me for, and they're going to get a certain payoff of that. So that's a good brand. I mean, sometimes I tell artists, I said like, it's all about sort of being known for at least one or two things. like that. Like whether it's a project or just a way you draw. Some artists make it really important to be super versatile. There's something wrong with being versatile, but sometimes if you're versatile, it means you're not like shining in any one particular area. I'd rather be somebody who's like really known for drawing sexy women, and if somebody's not too fond of like how I draw Superman, that's okay. I don't have to be great at that either. It's more about like creating, like I said, an identifiable trait that people just love about you, that it's easily recognizable, they know they can come to you for it, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do.
With the sexy women, as you put it, where are your inspirations? I noticed you're doing kind of a very classy way there. There is no smut.
I know.
Like as old school movies.
Honestly, that's a great question and a really great observation. And you're totally right. I mean, to me, it's like it's just a.
And I respect that, by the way. That you never actually crossed that line. It's like,
I think it's just a natural compass of my own. It's almost like it doesn't take a lot of overthinking, because to me, I've got my compass and my sort of calibration already tuned to that. Yeah. Like if I think I would find it offensive or sort of like over the top, that's all I need to know, and it keeps me pretty well focused. You know, I kind of like I said, I wish there was a formula for that, but it's just like you just kind of like find what works for you and what doesn't work for you. But what I depict just comes very naturally, and what I don't depict is just a very natural boundary for me that I just go, that I would find that sort of like too much, so I imagine somebody else would too.
And I'm glad that you were able to become so successful without having to cross that line.
Thanks. You know? Well, honestly, I think it's been the key to my success. I think people cross that line. They may attract an element of their fan base, but they'll also alienate a much bigger part.
Right, the demographic.
Exactly, and I actually have always been really appreciative of the fact that even though I'm known for drawing quote-unquote sexy women, I have so many amazing female fans like that come around all the time at these tables and at these shows, and I'm very appreciative of my female fans, and I love getting their feedback and seeing what it is that attracts them to my artwork, and that's really important to me. I love that element is there in my fans, and I just want to sort of keep that going as much as I can.
We appreciate it. Now, before we sign off, is there anything you wish you could say now to a young Jay Scott that used to be, bouncing off between artist alleys all over the place? Like, you can just
That's a great question. I think you know what it is. I got into comic books in the early '90s, and I was very grateful that I got in comics at that point. But I think any of us artists, even the veterans who were in comics in the '90s, I don't think we all knew what a magical, brief time that was going to be. I mean, the '90s, especially that mid-'90s period, you could almost anybody who had a creator owned did fairly well, and it was almost like hard to even have a failure at that point. The market was so embraceable comics. It was just a magic time, actually. My only thing was I wish I would have hustled and just worked that much harder in that period of time.
Like magical, like you were just on cycle.
It was, yeah, because like I kind of got in and just figured, this is comic books, not realizing it was a very special, unique time in comic books. And though I think I did pretty well, I think just knowing that I have that mindset of going, hey, let me take even better advantage of this thing, working even that much harder. It was a really cool time, and I'm still grateful, like, since that's the time that I actually did break into comics.
Great, man. Thank you very much for having us, Jay Scott. Really appreciate it. Thank you. This is David, Jay Scott. Thank you for watching.